Ciao Bella! Welcome to Bella Uncinetto. I'm Christina, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. If you're new, welcome in. If you're returning, welcome back. No matter how long you've been here, I always appreciate your time. Today we are going to try, maybe, I don't know, but also share with you some very interesting information about a town that I found. Well, I didn't find it. I'm not like a discoverer, but I went there, visited. So, school is over for us on base, and Italian school still goes a little bit longer. They go until like almost the end of June, but uh, we are finished. So, I have a little bit of time before I start. Well, I had a little bit of time. I'm recording this. I've already started working summer school, but I had a little bit of time before I started summer school, and I thought, well, let's just take a day trip, right? So we did. Here in Sicily, it was about 2 hours away. Uh, so we went to a town called Modica, and this town, as with almost every town that I've been in Sicily, is beautiful. Uh, but this town especially because it had a noble family, like a royal family. It was its own county at one time. So it had its own like royalty. And during the time that the Spanish had control of Sicily, so at one point the Spanish had from Rome down to Malta, like all of that land was controlled by the Spanish. And they also, the Spanish, had control of places in South America and other areas of the world, obviously. But an interesting connection, right, between all of this. Like, why am I telling you this? It's Italian, Christina. Why do we care? Because one of the things that the Spanish tried to bring to the world, right, was chocolate. And the first time didn't go so well because it was very bitter. And I am not a fan of dark chocolate. My son loves it. I do not. But um, the second time, right, they added sugar and it was a success globally, right? But mainly with wealthy people. And I say all of that because their chocolate, right, the chocolate that the Spanish brought over is not the chocolate that we know today. It's not that smooth consistency, like if you see someone making chocolate and they're tempering it and they like, oh, and it's so creamy, and that's not it. So the chocolate in Modica is very, very similar to uh, the like Aztec chocolate or like the Mayan chocolate, I would say. Uh, when we went to Paris and we did the chocolate museum, they had these cute little dispensers that you could get as you were going around. They were actually in the museum as you went around. And as they talked about the different kinds or the different periods of chocolate, let me say, they had little dispensers and you could get out however many pieces you wanted. I mean, if you wanted to put 20 pieces in your mouth, you could crank out 20 pieces and eat them. They didn't care. But this kind of chocolate was one that I had had there, so I was familiar with the texture, and it's very different. right? And it's not different in a bad way. And it's not all like dark, extreme dark chocolate, right? But it is very dry. And so while we were there, um, and hopefully some pictures will be popping up as I'm talking. I'm hoping that I'm editing this correctly on the back end. But while we were there, we visited several places. And the things that we purchased, I will show you in between the pictures popping up. But I did take some pictures while we were walking around. And I'm not sure right now because I'm recording whether or not those will pop up just as I'm speaking, or if they will be at the end. I tend to explain a lot of things, so they will probably just pop up as I am speaking, because it was a very beautiful town. And we parked the car and just walked around, which was amazing for me because my ankle doesn't let me do that often. I did get some new shoes, so that helped, but I still felt it at the end of the day. Like, I wasn't in as much pain as I usually am, but I did feel it at the end of the day. Anyway, so of the places that we visited, right, the first one was a chocolate factory. Now this factory, I'm gonna get the bag that has the stuff in it. This is not it. This is it. So the bag, this is the name of the chocolate factory, Il Modicano Organic Chocolate. And this company, it is organic, it is dairy-free. Some of what they have is gluten-free, but it's vegan chocolate. So one of the biggest things, and I did take a picture of it, because the cocoa plant, right, the big part of it is opened, right, and then you have the beans inside. So the only part of the chocolate, the only part of the bean that's used for the chocolate is the cocoa mass. They don't use the cocoa butter. They don't use the inside of the bean that makes the paste. It's just the mass. And I took a picture of just that, and hopefully that pops up while I'm talking. But this little pamphlet just kind of tells you some of the things that they offer, right? So they have the Aztec chocolate, they have dark chocolate milk alternatives, and then they have spreads, and then they have drinking chocolate. We were not able to get any of the drinking chocolate. They didn't have any powder available for me to buy. We did get a spread. Their milk chocolate alternatives that they do make at the factory are made with rice milk. So they are dairy free. I did not try the extra dark chocolate. My son did. He said it was good. But the other thing that makes Aztec chocolate or Modican chocolate different than the chocolate that we would buy, like, you know, a Hershey bar or a Galaxy bar or whatever, is also the sugar is not ground super fine, so that if it does like melt at all, there's still big pieces of it. It's also not heated to make the fat that is in it, because it does have some fat in it, like that creamy consistency. So one thing that I learned at the factory is that if someone says it's 75% cocoa, right? That could be any mixture of the mass, the paste, and the cocoa butter. You don't know what the breakdown is unless they specifically write it in the ingredient list. So, Modican chocolate is only ever made unless it specifically says that they've added milk or something like that, which I'll show you some of that also from another place that I went to. Doesn't have any cocoa butter in it. So here, it says on the back, I got this is bergamot chocolate, which I did taste beforehand because they had little samples there and it was really lovely. It says 60% minimum ingredients: cocoa mass, cane sugar, bergamot essential oil. May contain traces of nuts, but it does say cocoa mass on there, right? So if it's not specifically listed, it could be any combination and you wouldn't know because they don't have to tell you. It's all part of the cocoa plant. So they don't have to tell you. The other thing that my children picked out was this pistachio cream, right? And I did not try any of the spreads, but they love it. Now, I would not let them have it until I showed it to you all, but I can, thankfully, because I live close by. I mean, 2-hour drive, but I could, if I wanted to get some shipped to me, like if I wanted to get something else, I could. So I did get their flyer because I do want to order some of the like cocoa powder for drinking chocolate because I really like cinnamon in chocolate, and they have a really nice one that I smelled, but it was just a powder, so like I couldn't taste it. Anyway, that was the chocolate factory. The next place that we actually stopped at was a little cafe where we got these, which I am, what's in there? Oh, it was this little cafe, just like a little shop along the course or the path or the street. But the thing that I did buy, these are called impanativo, and they are like empanadas, right? But with chocolate and mints and other things in them. So they are cooked and they do have an expiration date, so we do have to eat them soon. But we just went, today's Thursday when I'm filming this, and we just went on Tuesday. So they said they were made Monday, so we need to eat them this weekend. But they've been sealed, they're not opened. But this is something that they are, Modica is known for, is their impanativo, which is similar, right, to empanada, because it is from the Spanish influence, but it has the chocolate in it with the other ingredients. Let me get these out of here. I put them in there, but they don't go in there. Okay. So, the next place that we stopped at was a chocolate museum. Now, it was a very small chocolate museum, and it had a lot of interesting things. I think the biggest thing about this museum is that it has a lot of sculptures, and so those things will pop up And they did a lot of chocolate paintings, which you'll see. You can tell that either people or temperature have gotten to some of them, but they are really wonderful. My daughter really loved the map of Italy, and I did take a couple of pictures where I pointed to the flag on Sicily is where the chocolate museum is, but I pointed to where we are near Mount Etna, and I have a picture of that, and then I went all the way up to the top of Italy and pointed to where my dad's family is from, and I have a picture of that because she was asking, like, where are we now, and what is this, and what is that, and so I was trying to show her, but I also thought, well, that'd be interesting to, like, have for a memory, right? And one of her biggest things, of course, was, can we eat this? And I'm like, I don't really think you want to eat this. It's been sitting out for a while. People probably have touched it, even though they're not supposed to. And so there were rooms where they had the chocolate molds. They also had a little bit in like a hallway of how the chocolate came to Sicily, which I explained to you a little bit in the beginning. And then there was another room that had another couple of sculptures. One was Malta, right? A chocolate model of Malta. And then there was a giant painted chocolate model of the town, which was really interesting because I could actually show Sparkle right where we were in the town while we were in the museum in the town, which is kind of So there, um, I purchased this. Now we couldn't try it, so I can't promise that I'm gonna like it, but I do like pomegranate. So I did get a pomegranate chocolate, and again on the back, right? It says, in the English. It says, right, 60% cocoa mass, sugar, and then pomegranate natural flavoring. And it is lactose-free, vegan, and gluten-free. And a lot of that has to do is because it doesn't have the butter in it, so they don't have to add milk or anything like that. It was a neat museum. It was very small, and I personally wouldn't call it a museum as much as like a showcase, like a display area, but they do give a little bit of information, mainly in the hallway, and then when you're going around the model of Italy, there is like the Garibaldi papers, and they have those posted up. They have information about that, but that's really it as far as information is concerned. They don't really have even a lot of information on who made the models or painted the things, anything like that. There's not a lot of that information. Sparkle got this banana chocolate, and it is 60% mass, and then it has banana 8%, 8% banana flavor. That may be a lot. It's not in English though, so I'm trying to, may contain hazelnut, almond, and pistachio. And again, it's gluten-free and dairy-free. All right, so we did go have lunch, and then we took a very elevated walk, which was up a lot of stairs, which I was worried about mainly for my ankle. Not the going up, but the coming back down, because it's very beautiful, as you'll see in the pictures. But the plants covered a lot of the railings. So on the way back down, it was a little bit harder for me, and I knew it was going to be harder for me when we looked up the stairs. And I remember we walked up like one little flight of stairs, and then my son was up there first, and he was like, "Ma, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do this." And I was like, I can get up there. Up, I can do. And he was like, "Yeah, maybe we'll have to like get a ride or something." I was like, we'll see how I feel when I get up there. You know, I don't really have the money for that, but I mean, if I had to. But I felt surprisingly okay. So the last place that we went for chocolate was this place. It's called Sabadi. This is the only place in the world that ages chocolate. Now, what does that mean? Well, as you'll see in the pictures, this is a map of the town. I was going to see if they had a picture in the map. Yeah, sort of. So they age the chocolate. This is actually a really pretty picture. By putting it in with whatever it's supposed to be. So this is rose chocolate, right? And so it's in a tin of roses. Now, I did take some pictures of some in tea and tobacco and fennel, and you could try almost any of them. Some of them they didn't have available even for purchase, but I thought that it would be interesting to try some of them. Like I did try the tobacco one. Nope. It was interesting. I would not want to eat it again. Right? I just wouldn't. So they did give us some bookmarks, right? Just some cute little bookmarks when we made our purchase. And in the shop, they have the big table, right, of all of the things that you can purchase. But in front of each one is a sampling. So you can sample them and see if you like them. So they did have the chocolates, which we'll show you in a moment. The ones that I purchased. But they also had these like caramels, which they're not caramel the way that we know them. They're like really hard sugary pieces. They're not really even like a hard, where'd it go? Werther's. Like a Werther's. They're not even like that. They are like a almost transparent kind of candy. Some of them are tasty. Some of them were not. But this one is lemon and rosemary. This one is orange and cardamom. And then this one is blood orange and marjoram. Now these were all samples that they had dishes of them. I mean, you could have taken a handful if you wanted, but I just took the ones that I sampled that I liked. I took another sample of. Didn't really want to buy a whole box of them, but again, I can order and have it sent to me here in Sicily. So, this is what I was talking about when I was talking about adding milk. So they did have, let me get it out of the bag. They did have in this shop some ones that had milk in it. I did get 2 of these. This is chocolate with cardamom, which I really love. And it does tell you, so I'll show you on the back. So it tells you cocoa mass, where it came from. Excuse me, my nose was itching. And it tells you the cane sugar, milk powder, there is cocoa butter in this, and then there is the cardamom, right? Because there's milk added, they do add the cocoa butter. But on here, it tells you on the front, right? It tells you there's 53% cacao or cocoa, but the plant itself is called cacao. Trying to see if it said percentage. Yeah, it's gluten free. Of course, it's not dairy free. But I did get 2 of them because I really liked them. And they did have other flavors there with the milk in it, but I was not a fan of some of them. Some of them I couldn't try, right, because it had like strawberry or something like that in there, and I can't have those things. So another thing that I purchased was this drink. It's bergamot drink. I really like bergamot, if you can't tell. But this you have to mix with water. So, or you could probably mix it with like club soda, but you could mix it with sparkling water or club soda, or something like that. But one of these bottles, right, makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in water, and it tells you like the percentages. Well, it tells you milliliters, but it tells you, you know, how much of this to add. And they had like a giant bottle of it, but again, they didn't have this to taste, which I understand. So I was like, I'm just gonna buy a small bottle of it, and if I like it, maybe I'll, you know, splurge. But none of this was super expensive. Like, for example, this was like €4, $4.50. These were, I don't have the price on them. I want to say these were like 3 something. Now these were a little expensive, but these I did try before I purchased them, so I didn't just buy them without trying them. So this one is chamomile, and this one is wild fennel, and these are the aged chocolate. So you get 7 pieces, and if you remember the tins where you had the little pieces aging in there, this is like a piece that would come out of that box, right? So you get 7 pieces, and it was, I think it was like €8, so it makes it a little bit more than $1 a piece of chocolate. But they age them for different times depending on what it is. So I mean, they had all kinds of things there, and I did take pictures, which did show up, or if they didn't show up, they're showing up now. But I just wanted to share that with you all. I thought it was a really interesting experience, right? I just thought that it would be something that we could all enjoy, and we did all enjoy it. We all had a very good day. It was all very lovely. So if I haven't shown all of the pictures, there will be pictures at the end with a little bit of music. If I have shown all the pictures, then this will be the end of the video. And I hope that you enjoyed it, seeing all of the beautiful, beautiful Baroque architecture, just the Mediterranean feel of the town. It was wonderful. And I mean, there were other things to see. I would definitely go back and do something else there in the town as well. But I thank you for your time and your attention, and I hope to see you again very soon. Be the change you wish to see in the world, everyone. Ciao bella.